exist.
I'm pretty sure he meant biscuits.
We're recording live right now. This is how the show gonna start. Hey man, welcome back to another episode of Bizcuits and Gravy. It's another week. We moved, man. You know what's crazy? Like people didn't see the post I put up.
They didn't.
No, they didn't. So they didn't know that we moved to Mondays.
My mom asked me about it today.
Right, they didn't know. So my boy hit me. It was actually earlier today. He was like, "Man, no Bizcuits and Gravy this week."
Woo! I like that.
Right? I was like, "Man, that's crazy." I was like, he was looking. He's like, "Yeah, I've been looking for it." Man, hey, whatever. Let him in. So my son and your son just walked in the room.
Well, it is the playroom, Chase.
It is the playroom.
Normally they're at school, but we got the family. Son, you know, took a bath and put on your... Okay, your Snoopy sleepwear?
They came here to get all kinds of stuff. Hey, we might want to introduce our special guest. You know I'm Chase Davis, and that's my co-host, Barney Lynn Roberts. But somebody that's really important to me, very special. She's the baby of the bunch. My mom's youngest child. She don't live here, and I ain't seen her in a long time. Her name's Bree Davis. She gonna teach them stuff today. Say hello, Bree.
Hey y'all, and I am the favorite child, by the way.
That's fine. You can have it.
That's self-proclaimed. When they gotta say it themselves, Chase, it's debatable.
As long as this podcast get done and you share your information, I don't have to come to Atlanta and beat you up. She's joining us live from Atlanta via FaceTime. Carter, which is my son. Carter, come here. Come here.
Hey.
This side. Y'all know Carter from the intro to Bizcuits and Gravy. Put the gravy on these biscuits.
Come here, Caleb.
Come here.
Cut out two little ones.
Who is that? You don't see that person? Look at the screen.
Say hi to your auntie. You're nervous. You know, good living. Caleb.
Hey, put some gravy on these biscuits.
Yes,
Say, put some gravy on these biscuits. Say it, Caleb.
Put these gravy on these biscuits.
You do it. Go.
Now you do it, Carter.
These gravy on these biscuits.
Perfect.
And who is that? Who is she?
Who am I?
Come on, you gotta say who it is. This is not a time to be stage fright.
He's trying to play with his
You don't know who that
toys.
is.
You don't know who I
She been gone that long?
am? No, you just saw me you on FaceTime me the other day.
Oh, you don't know that person.
It's all right, Carter. It's not your fault. It's hers. You didn't know who she did.
You don't know who she is.
It's my...
That's messed up.
Sorry, I'm trying to
I
be
can't believe you ain't talking. Get out of the room.
It's all good. See you guys later. Have fun, fellas.
I'm just
Bye.
here trying to be the fine single success. That's all.
You a what?
Just up here trying to be the fine single successful auntie that starts trust funds.
We don't lie to the people listening.
Did she say fine single auntie that starts trust funds?
That's what she said. We don't lie.
I like her admiration.
I ain't seen no trust fund money yet.
I don't believe
I
that.
said I'm trying to be that. I'm trying to.
Speaking into the atmosphere.
Thank you. Speaking into the atmosphere.
Write the vision. Make it plain.
There it is.
I'm working on it.
Today, first of all, before we even get into the topic of what we're going to talk about today, just tell the people who you are, Bree. Who are you?
So I am Bree Davis. I am, as Chase mentioned, the baby of the bunch. I work in the field of development and fundraising with the concentration in grant writing.
Say that again. Say it again. Your FaceTime is messing up. The internet don't work good now.
Sorry, we're low budget inner city kids.
It's okay.
So Bree Davis, I work in the career and field of nonprofit development and fundraising with a concentration on grant writing and corporate partnerships and individual philanthropy.
Gosh.
That's awesome. She sounds very intelligent, Chase.
How many times have you written that?
How many?
Who wrote that for you?
You know what?
Nobody.
Another
I don't think I've ever written it. My title explains it. And then if you're in the sector of nonprofit partnerships and corporate partnerships.
I like the word sector.
You sound like Lenora Davis.
I start to look like her too, don't I?
Bad and bougie.
Thank you.
Hey, cuss like a sailor.
Black woman on the rise.
I'm proud of the black women. In fact, my message tomorrow is on women. Shouts out to the women's.
Shout out to NBSI.
True that.
It ain't no church.
It's an institution. She don't know nothing about that. She ain't my friend on Facebook, Chase.
She ain't your friend on Facebook. She will be after this, though, because I've been harassing the heck out of her. Also, got a shout out. You are also an alum of
The Florida State University.
Say it with your chest.
Say it with your chest.
Say it with your
Hey.
chest.
Go ahead and insert war chant. No, I mean, I might actually split this and put the war chant in for real.
You should.
Yeah,
But I like what you done.
Yeah.
The enthusiasm.
We dig
That
that.
was-
Y'all heard
and
the
that's
title, right?
actually
That's from
where-
Florida State.
And that's actually where I started my career in grant writing and fundraising.
I need some grants too, so
Oh, I
this is
remember
gonna
that.
be
You were like working for like the FSU Foundation or something like that.
I am, and I'm still known as the top caller who raised almost $500,000 for Florida State's foundation.
do your thing, baby.
You harassed all the people and you ain't gave me a dime yet. Raise some money for
In 2
Business and
years.
Gravy.
Please, dude, don't be selfish. At least
I won't.
subscribe to the show.
Raise some money for Business and Gravy. Okay.
I'm subscribed.
All right, we're done playing with that. All right, we got to get into the topic, and what we're going to be talking about now is grant writing. Grants, what are they? What are they for? Like, how can people obtain grants? What can they obtain them for? What do people need to gather when they contact someone like you who specialize in writing grants and fundraising, whether it be nonprofit or otherwise? I know there's grants all over the place, and I know a little bit about it, but I don't know everything. And you're going to enlighten us, I'm sure, on a lot. As far as your resume and what you've done thus far.
Sure. So I started my nonprofit and fundraising interest at Florida State University, where I successfully raised almost $500,000 to support upgrades, scholarships, and renovations within the school, different schools on campus to support students in their
Slow down.
of completing school.
She needs to get a grant for that internet, Jay.
Yes, you should write yourself a grant.
We'll sign it.
You got
I'm just saying.
Bizcuits break so shady. So after that, I matriculated to Atlanta, Georgia.
Big word, Lord.
Get that matriculate. I'm sorry.
Could you guys stop? I ended up here in Atlanta, Georgia, where I worked for the Atlanta Police Foundation, where I raised again $500,000 to support the events in the Atlanta Police and their goal to being the safest city here. And that included raising money for body cameras, street cameras, and different things like that, safe neighborhoods and secure neighborhoods. And then I was recruited to join the American Red Cross to develop and build their individual giving and corporate partnerships program, where I successfully raised about $1.3 million for them in 3 years, or 2.5, almost 3 years. And then I actually was recruited to where I am now at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Metro Atlanta, where I am building their fundraising program through 4 different channels, and that includes peer-to-peer fundraising, corporate partnerships, individual giving with spin on entertainment partnerships, annual giving. What else?
That's a lot. I hate to cut you off, but that's like 2.5 million you've raised.
That's plenty.
That's awesome.
4 years that I've been here.
And you say you've been recruited by these people, so they sought after your skills and talents?
They did.
Good for you.
That's crazy. So
Chase, that's your baby sister, Chase.
Yeah,
that's my baby sister, man.
Good for you.
That's her. That's what she look like right there. I'm gonna take a screenshot so I can post that. What just you look like just right now.
Oh, okay, wait. Let me.
Chase, let her get herself together, Chase. You know girls like that. Not that you look bad, baby, but
That screenshot, that's going.
there it is. It's a good shot.
No.
My forehead. Try to edit that out a little bit.
Your forehead's what?
Your forehead? Just you got to bring the bang down.
You're right.
That's what I've learned.
You need one of them. You need one of them sponges like Grandma had.
Oh, that's a powder sponge, old school, baby. The red.
The red one, yeah. Cause you
You got to be
right.
from the ghetto to know what that is. They still sell them. They come in a plastic pack. Okay, let's get
Use
to
her
that.
Estee Lauder powder.
Estee Lauder. Whoa.
Yes, that's what powder she
Did
uses.
she just
It sure do.
turn extinguished? Distinguished.
Distinguished.
That's the word.
Cause you greasy around the nose. You need your red sponge.
Yeah,
You greasy. Like you've been eating.
It's all right, though, but you
been
get good
eating
grass.
Millionaire bacon.
That's grant bacon.
Grand bacon.
Do you eat pork?
Swine, my brother. All right. So question number 1. Okay, Bree, fill us in. What is a grant and how does it work?
Yeah, so there are various type of It really depends on what you're looking for. So there are grants for everything. When I was actually at Florida State, I applied for being the only girl in a single parent house.
You gotta slow down, man.
Yeah, just you know, your brain is so fast because you're brilliant, but your internet is so slow. Is that dial-up?
It must be. Come on, Bree.
My internet?
Router.
We're not judging
better
you.
than this.
Yeah, come on. All them grants, you can get a router.
But no, talk slower because the internet is kind of spotty. So if you talk slower, you can.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So
all right.
there are grants for literally everything you can think of, from small business grants to large business grants. But mostly what I focus on are grants that come from private foundations, public foundations, and then also the grants that come from major corporations that have. So, for example, Georgia has good, or like Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has a foundation. So it comes from that. And then there's state grants and local. Then there's that. So it really is based on what you need. I actually wrote a grant, so it's great for everyone.
Let me ask you a question, because I don't even think it's because you're speaking fast anymore, because I can see her live and that's working. What if you grab your microphone kind of hold it towards your mouth and do that. I know it's kind of tedious, but see if that would work better.
Okay, does that work better?
Thus far it does.
Yeah, so it sounds better.
Okay, that's not the problem.
What?
Problem.
Wow.
No, that's not the problem.
The internet sucks, is what it is.
Can you hear us, Bree?
I can hear you clearly, and my internet is not working because it has.
It's AT&T or Comcast?
AT&T Uverse.
There it is.
What it is.
There it is.
We're working on 5G and stuff over here. We got
I'm sorry, Bree.
Literally pushing like 100 megabytes a second, something like that.
Yeah, they just upgraded us for free. It's not your fault.
Would you recommend that I disconnect from the internet and just use my LTE?
That may work. Yeah. Can we do that?
Okay, let's see.
If this works, that's a message to Uverse.
Yeah.
That's a message to Uverse.
My wife been trying to get me to AT&T. I told her, oh no, I ain't gonna be able
I used
to
to work
do
for
it.
agency. Don't do it.
There it is.
Okay,
Don't do it.
now it's on the all one bars and it says LTE.
Okay, who is your phone service provider?
AT&T.
Okay, maybe they're good with. They've been good with phones.
Internet's terrible.
That's fairly new to them.
Uverse is horrible. Okay. All right, let's kind of start this over a little bit, and then whatever. Everybody who listens to the show, they love us anyway, so we're going to work this on out.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. You said, I know you talked about, and we said, what is a grant and how does it work? You said there's a bunch of different types of grants. You told us that there were, local, federal, state grants. There's grant for small business. There's grant for nonprofit. There's grant for a bunch of different stuff. Right. So how does a grant work necessarily? Like, where does that money come from?
And also, is it money, just for clarity, is it free money? And when I say free money, does it mean you don't have to pay it back? How does it differ from a loan?
Okay, so to answer first question, okay, you said where does grants come from, or how does it work?
Yeah.
Okay, so based on where the grant comes from, there are certain requirements that you will need to fulfill the grant. So for nonprofits, if you're asking for a grant for like $250,000, that can possibly be a programmatic grant or an operational grant, or it's based on what the need is for. But there are certain requirements like how many children have you served, or with this money you have to serve this many children based on what your organization. Mm-hmm. So, Lynn, to answer your question, are grants free money? Yes, grants are free money. However, it's with stipulations. Sure. There's always a mid-year report and oftentimes the end-of-year report. You just have to report back what you use that money for. So let's give you an example. These mega Fortune 1000, Fortune 500 companies are giving away all this money because essentially they have to, there's companies like Amazon who I don't know, made $5 billion and they have Amazon Smile. Of that $5 billion, they have to give away some sort of money, obviously for tax purposes and organizationally running their corporation the way they do. So they have to give away a certain amount of money. As a recipient, it is your job in order to apply for that grant by developing a proposal or developing some kind of request to that organization, to the federation, to that foundation, or to the state or local government, asking for those funds. And oftentimes it includes having an annual budget, operational costs, and really writing that proposal of what you are using that for.
And do you come into play in terms of all those stipulations? Not all of them, and it makes sense because you want to make sure that people aren't just taking the money and just fraudulently using it and stealing. So you have to have a paper trail. I understand that completely. With that being said, where do you or can you help with meeting the requirements? Like, I can understand the requirements, but can you help me formulate the plan, or not tell me what to write, not that I'm being fraudulent, but help course me in a direction so that I'm able to be within the requirements and stay within the requirements?
Yeah,
understand
sure.
my question?
Yes, I do. So where do I come into play? So people like me who have the experience and have the results of grant writing and
Did you say experience and results?
Yes.
See, that's your track record speaks for you. I'm bragging with you. I'm proud of you, baby.
I called it a double up.
There it is.
Of writing grants, it's kind of like a conflict of interest because I still work for a nonprofit. The good thing about it is I'm not in the industry of writing grants right now for my job. So you will hire a grant consultant like myself to write the grant. But in the interim of me writing the grant, I'm teaching you how to develop the grant.
Absolutely.
It's giving you the resources you need so that you don't need someone like me, and so that you can hire someone, or as your organization or nonprofit gets bigger, or whatever your needs is gets fulfilled, you can learn how to do it yourself, or you can hire someone to do so. But where I come into play is putting all the pieces together for you, doing the research, because I notice a lot of people know that there's grants there, but just don't know where to start. Most people. And the funny thing is, people underestimate the internet because Google is your best friend. The same questions that people ask me, if they typed it into Google, they'll get their answer. That's
I'm asking you.
Makes sense. I want to ask you too.
But
I'm not paying you. Once again, I'm not.
You got to give your gift away for free sometimes, baby.
Yeah.
Like right now.
Right now. And for MBSI later on.
Straight up. I'm going to tell you right now. I wish you would have told me you weren't going to do this podcast interview about this budget. I wish you would have.
Chase, you got some big hands. You can't.
Look.
You told me that was the worst sibling ever.
Look, I don't even know what I'd have had to do to you. I'd have been in Atlanta soon.
It's a short ride.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, but back to the question. So people like me come into play with helping you develop that. And then also, I do more than just the grant writing pieces. There's people who don't even know where to start with incorporating your company, or incorporating your nonprofits, or where to go, or how to even develop an annual budget. So that was the other thing. I obtained my master's degree in public administration.
Hold on. Stop for a second, man. Jay.
I wanted them too.
Jay, hold on, man. Now let's shout this out, man. Seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Like, your sister got a master's, you got a master's. We're not undermining your brother. He have his degree.
Yeah.
That is a huge blessing. Shout out to y'all, man. I know it hasn't been easy.
To our mama.
Shout out to your moms. Real talk, man. I give glory to God, your grandparents, and all that. I'm proud of y'all. Do your thing, baby. Got your master's degree.
And my auntie Cora.
And your auntie. Straight up. I'm proud of you. Y'all should hang that up.
Shout out to Miles Davis. That's my little brother. Oh, that's what I'm going to do to you. If you do that, I'll tell Miles.
With them dreads?
Yeah, that's Miles Davis.
Miles with them dreads?
Mm-hmm.
He should have been a musician, though, because you know his namesake.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say for the genius, not for the insanity.
I like it. Go ahead and do your thing. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Wanted to shout you out.
So that was the other thing. I also obtained my master's degree in public administration.
So did I.
I didn't. Let's just keep it real here.
So I also develop annual budgets, operational budgets. I help people actually put their nonprofit together. I actually have worked with a client to where I built their entire nonprofit for them, and we're in the incorporation stage. The only thing that they've done was get the logo and come up with the name, and I've already secured about $30,000 in pre-funding for them.
I want to hold on for a second.
I need some pre-funding.
No, forget that noise, man. Chase, boy, I like Chase, but I like him a little less after this show. He had you all this time. He know what's going on with me. He's been a godsend, but you dropped the ball.
I dropped the ball.
Better late than never. Go ahead, baby.
I don't know. Man, she don't be telling me all this stuff, man.
You know what she do for a living, Chase.
I didn't know she was doing all this.
Do you know she write grants for a living?
Yeah, I knew she
That's
wrote.
all you need to know
I
then.
know she did that. Yeah, I knew
I
that.
know Bam Bam.
I know a little bit about that.
If I want no pastor, I'll be cursing. Go ahead.
It ain't no church.
It's an institution.
Yeah, so that's what most grant writers or should be, but that's what I do more than just grant. I help you start to finish. My goal as a nonprofit consultant is to get you on your feet, get your foundation set, and get you running. Get you riding that bicycle with 2 wheels instead of 4.
Cool.
And then I'll that resource for you to come back to. But most importantly, I like to push knowledge to people about the whole realm of development and developing your mission, because it's more than just,
Slow down.
it's more than just a grant. You got to have your mission statement, your vision statement, your operational program. So it's more than just grant.
True that.
And that's in.
Because those help you meet the requirements for said goal, and also in turn help make your job easier as you try to facilitate these funds for the nonprofit.
Yeah.
So to make it plain, because y'all got master's degrees, let me make it plain. So what you're saying is, basically, you formulate a plan for money that has to be allotted based on, I would say, federal regulation in terms of taxes by these big Fortune 500 companies. So it's money that has to be given away anyways. So it's just there so that it can help them in terms of their taxes. But it's there for the taking. But you have to meet a certain stipulation.
Right, but that's only for corporations. So many corporations have pillars, and some of these pillars include education, sustainability, growing green, whatever it is that their foundation's purpose is. So I always go back to Georgia Power because they were one of the biggest partners. And their pillars include education, environment, disaster relief, humanitarian services, those kinds. So whatever it is that you're doing, whatever plan you're cultivating, whatever your organization is, the magic behind writing a grant is fitting your purpose into their pillars. But that's only for corporations.
Okay. I understand. So they basically have things in terms of pillars, things that are, like my boy Chase, were near and dear to the organization and or company. They prefer to stifle a certain amount of money to those things. And as long as you're within those parameters, they'll be able to, with your help, of course.
So fitting your vision into their pillars, that make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
To get their crumbs.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Right.
They make it so much money. I take the crumbs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's a biblical scripture about crumbs.
Right. That's why I said it.
Yeah, because they're billions of dollars.
Sure.
Right. With that being said, so you kind of off of their success, you're kind of feeding off of their success.
Yeah.
So we established that. Now, when it comes to learning what these pillars are, right? Do like companies like these Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies, do they like advertise what their pillars are? Do someone needs to come to you in order to find out what they are and where to find this funding? You know what I'm saying? Are there different networks or places that you can find out what grants are out there and what people are looking to give money away for? I guess that's essentially what it is. The company's looking to give this money away. We're trying to find out who to give it to.
Yeah, so some of them have them plastered all over the website. I know, for example, going back to Georgia Power, they have their foundation website, and it's called Corporate Social Responsibility.
Okay.
Okay. So ideally what that is the corporation's responsibility to give back in the community. So when you Google Florida Power and Light, you Google Florida Power and Light, corporate social responsibility, and anything about what they do in the community is listed. Another little hint and that I would recommend anyone doing is think about the mission of your organization, whether you serve kids, whether you serve veterans, whether you want to open up assisted living facilities. Look at your peer community partners, right? So if I am someone interested in doing something to serve youth, think about a big name nonprofit in your community. Chase, you and I can relate to this, the Boys and Girls Club.
Yep.
So Google Boys and Girls Club and look who their sponsors are. Look who support them. All of that information is in what's called a 990. The Form 990, and you can search that online, or you can even go to their website and see what organizations that are in the local community that support them. And then you can just obviously piggyback off of that, or you can type in these corporations like American Airlines, which is headquartered down there in Coconut Grove, I think. Coconut
Grove is in Miami.
Oh, well, it's down there somewhere, South Florida. Okay. American Airlines is headquartered there. That's a big airline, much like Delta Airlines here. So you can Google American Airlines corporate social responsibility, and you will receive all kind of information on what they're invested in the community. Sometimes they're listed, hey, we care about education, we care about veterans, we care about disaster relief. Or sometimes you see what nonprofits they have supported, and then sometimes organizations actually just give money away based on who has built a relationship with them. And sometimes they're very generous and give to different lines of services. So it's really about research and building those relationships. The key to everything is building a relationship and finding who that point of contact is. And most of the time that person either comes from the foundation or human resources, or another thing is looking at the reciprocity. I look at the what's in it for me strategy. So you look at the marketing aspect. Many people love and many corporations care about where they're putting their names. So there's several pots of money. You just got to figure out which one you fit in.
But with you being so knowledgeable and educated in it, I think some things you overlook and you take for common knowledge. And I'm not saying that to be negative in terms of things to look for. When you said, what is it, corporate responsibility, you said that, but I've never heard of the term. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't even know what to search for. You understand what I'm saying? And just with the information that you're affording people, because there are a lot of people with good intentions and terms and have a purpose, to do a good work. I can relate to that wholeheartedly. Sure. And there's a plethora of funds that are readily available, but we don't know how to come in contact with those things, and they're genuine. So I think even shows like this, not only highlighting your knowledge and your professionalism, but also being able to give people the opportunities to seek these funds, because honestly, when you got people from the community giving to the community, especially with the help of organizations who wants to give back, that can be impactful, just like the Boys and Girls Clubs were for you guys and for millions of other people, and even myself, and even my children, my brothers. That can be huge in the community. And because of our ignorance, we don't reap the benefits of them. So that's why I think shows like this and your job is so important.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because maybe it was a month or two ago, I actually talked to Chase. We had a conversation about me doing a seminar. Remember, Chase, I was telling you.
Webinar. We talked about it.
Huh?
Webinars.
webinar, and then coming home to do a seminar, and just
Oh yeah. I do remember that conversation.
about
Yeah. This is before we even started the show. I remember that.
Okay.
Yep. Talk about what we're doing, because I have so much knowledge and experience in doing nonprofit development and fundraising. My idea is to come back home. Although Atlanta is, I don't want to say my new home, but
No, that's
I'm
cool.
here.
Sure.
I
I don't want to live there. Just personally.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot here, but there's also this piece of me that's missing because I don't feel like I'm doing anything in a community that raised me. So, one of the things I was thinking about doing is coming home to host a seminar, or kind of like a lunch and learn, or an event to where I can educate those like yourself and like others that contributed to my life, like Auntie Al, Auntie Andrea. They want into the nonprofit industry and want to know how to be philanthropic and be charitable and learn how to find grants. So I want to take the opportunity to host a seminar and gather like-minded individuals and really educate them on how to find these grants and what this information looks like, and really give back to where I come from. So it's interesting.
That's awesome, man. I want to and we're gonna, and if it's cool, we need to partner up. Within the next couple of months, I want to do an outreach. I have it's called Mind, Body, and Soul Institution. It's it's a nonprofit, but in essence it's a church, but not really. You would have to understand it. But it's something that's really near and dear to me, that's in the community. And I think it can uplift people. It's based on the Word of God. I'll be straightforward with you. But it's to uplift people and to educate people. You know what I mean? To be successful. It's one thing to say success and want success, but then to have a plan or a format to have that. Because I believe when you educate more people and when you give them a plan of success, poverty decreases, frustration and anger decreases, and so does violence. So I think it's a big thing and if we think that we're too small to do it, then we'll never do it. So we have to move forward in doing it. So I think that's a wonderful thing, and we definitely need the partnership.
And I want to piggyback on that. And like I said, you do have a plethora of knowledge about this, and you, me, Lynn, and this platform. I don't know if you understand, Bree, but this thing is about to blow up. Bizcuits and Gravy is about to blow up.
Oh, it's just the beginning.
Like, I already have a call to action at the end of the show or whatever for the people who listen to us. If you want this information, help us help you. We want to get this information out. The seminar that you're talking about, we don't have to wait on it. I literally, before we even started the show, came up with a segue to the show called Digital Gravy, where we will do webinars. About this topic, about grants, about bringing Uncle Keith about financing, working with Prime America. We talked about Donald Russell, about health and fitness, and doing webinars about that.
Yeah.
And that way, not only can we help the community, we can build our audience and build your following. So anybody who knows us and follows us follows you and looks to you for that advice. So with your own private endeavors, and when it comes to grant writing and business and stuff like that, you just kind of feed off of everything that we do. And we all end up helping each other. People who follow us contact you, they get the grant they need, you get the business from them, we get the following, you know what I mean? And everybody kind of eats off of each other. It's a rebuilding of Black Wall Street, to be honest. I got another idea about that also.
Sure.
I remember my mom told me about that, and she was talking about Tamarind Avenue in West Palm Beach. And when she grew up, it was pretty much like Black Wall Street, because they couldn't really go any other places to get the things they needed.
Okay.
And it kept that dollar circulating. We talked about it when we talked about it.
In fact, my little sister, well, she's a grown woman, but my sister talks about that often.
Right. And we're talking about supporting black businesses. And the thing is, what people have to understand is, when I say in my idea, I'm not excluding a business that's owned by a person of a different race.
Of course
I'm not at all. It's about supporting black businesses. It's not just for black businesses. Anyone who is willing to support black businesses. And I haven't talked to you about that yet, but I talked to Andrew about it.
Okay.
Shout out to my boy Andrew Lawrence. Happy birthday,
well, man. Happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah, we got a show coming up with Andrew coming up soon. He's supposed to be on the show, but I talked to him about it, and we had some great ideas in reference to that, and we
talked about the Black Wall Street thing too, Chase.
Yeah,
that was with the seminar.
It was a seminar you did?
No, I'm saying we talked about the Black Wall Street thing when we were talking about the seminar.
Right.
We talked about the what's the big festival that happens down there on Clematis?
Sunfest.
Sunfest, yeah. We talked about that.
Sunfest is like next week or the week after, something like that.
We got to set something up because you know what I mean? Honestly, man, and I highlighted you guys, and I was dead serious. There's more to us than what's being portrayed.
Right.
You know, that's a small portion, like the people were showing their behinds acting a fool in Miami, fighting and all that foolishness and all the violent stuff. That's programmed, man. Most of us are not like that.
Right.
And we don't agree with it.
Right.
And to help change the culture, change the mindset, that helps everybody. Knowledge is truly power, man, and for the opportunity to be able to do this. Chase, we are literally can be heard all over the world. And that's amazing. That's amazing to me.
I'm actually going on a trip next week, and I already thought about it. I'm telling everybody I see.
No, listen, man. I met this dude at a tire place, and I grabbed his phone and subscribed him.
At the time, let me hold your phone. Let me show you something.
Let me holler at you, bro.
Let me show you something. Put some knowledge in your ear.
Hey, it won't hurt.
Yeah, man, but like you talked about the pillars and stuff like that, and we're gonna revisit that again. I took notes while we did the show or whatever to come up with something like a template that we could use for a potential webinar. But the call to action is for anybody that listens to Bizcuits and Gravy. We need your help.
Definitely.
In order to do something like this, we need to grow this audience. So you can't just listen to Bizcuits and Gravy, you know, when it comes out every week. You have to listen and sit next to somebody else. Take their phone and subscribe into the show.
They'll let you do it.
We do it. We literally do it. And we're the hosts of the show. It's two of us. If everybody that follows us right now, everybody that likes us on Facebook would take somebody else's phone tomorrow and like us on Facebook and subscribe to the show on whatever platform. It doesn't matter. We could reach out and get to people when we make these events and schedule up these webinars to where my sister and other people that we've had on the show can get on a platform and just, you know, pretty much put knowledge on everybody. You know what I mean? Slather gravy on everybody. That is what Bizcuits and Gravy is about, right? Y'all are the biscuits, and we bringing you the gravy.
So stop asking which one are we. He just made it plain for you.
Right. You the biscuit.
And we just putting this gravy, a.k.a. knowledge, information, all over your cranium.
Right. Get people to follow us on social media and on every platform that we have. With this show, I'm going to post it again. There's a link tree. With that link, you can literally look at every platform that this show airs on, every platform that we have as well for the social media, how you can contact us, our mailing list, our email list. Webinars will go out through our email list. Sign up for the email list. We ain't finna. I'm not sending nothing to your house. I don't care. I'm not paying money to send nothing to your house. You know what I'm saying? Or nothing like that. I'm not trying to harass your email. I'm trying to let you know when we're doing events like the one we're talking about. We already talked about having food truck events, whatever for our local community. We're trying to reach everybody in the world. This is literally about to blow up. I know it is. I don't know how this came about. I do know how, but the way that everything worked out and how it has worked out thus far, it's way beyond us. Like we can't take credit for, you know, everything that is happening in regards to the show.
Right.
And everything that it's so much that happened before we even knew it was happening. Like my sister becoming a grant writing specialist for these enormous companies.
I told you that. Sorry to cut you off. 4 or 5 years ago, I talked to my wife about this, man. Before I met you, before I met your sister, and I know it was the providence of Christ. And you know, it's just so much negativity, Chase, spreads like wildfire.
Right.
You have two professional brothers, fathers. You have a wonderful, intelligent, brilliant, beautiful, black, successful woman, and we're giving you guys some knowledge. And I also want to take the time out to everybody who listens to this show, man, even my Caucasian friends who I love dearly, because I don't see color, man. I see the individual. I thank you guys for the support, man. Real talk, because we're genuinely trying to, in my mind, I'm genuinely trying to change a nation and inspire a generation.
Right.
And I mean that. even if it's one person at a time. And as far as I'm concerned, this is on the right platform in terms of doing it.
For sure. Man, we're going to wrap this up for tonight. Thank you, Bree. You're amazing. I love you. I'm happy to hear that, you're going to be moving back home, apparently.
She moved home, Chase?
That's what she just said. She said she wanted.
Well, she said she want to come home, Chase, to do a show. She ain't say move, Chase. I don't want to put
Did you mean move?
I meant come home to do it.
Oh, where you got that from, Chase?
Man, she lying, man.
Wishful thinking. He wants me to move home.
But why wouldn't it? That's his baby sister.
Oh, my 30 year.
Yeah, you do your thing, baby, branch out.
Ain't doing nothing up there.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm doing a lot here. I'm actually, just a little note, I was nominated for 30 on the 30 in Atlanta. I'll know in October whether I made it or not.
Well, girl, you need to go and they gonna send you some kind of email. Yeah, so we can post them. Is it a voting thing? Good for you.
I'm waiting to see. Got nominated.
Because I know there's a shortage of men in Atlanta.
Shortage.
It is a shortage, so we all know why. You just keep holding on, baby. You keep holding on.
Come here. I just texted my daughter, told her to come in.
Oh, okay.
Come here, say hello.
Hey!
Oh, you got to talk in the microphone. I hear. I hear. Get closer.
Hey, Jada?
This is Jada Davis. Say hello to your aunt.
Hi.
Hey,
Baby, speak up to the mic. Don't be nervous.
Yeah, you been recording on the show. Yeah, talk to your auntie. Go ahead. Go for it.
Hey, Jada.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. You out there playing on a project or what?
I'm playing on my phone.
Well, at least where you
You
paying
need to move
for?
home?
Yes.
Okay.
Your dad wants me to move home. Do you want me to move home?
Yes.
Oh,
But do you have a man holding you up there?
it's called money.
Well, baby, that ain't gonna hold you at night.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm one of those people that I want to start and finish where I left off. I don't feel like I'm here in Atlanta, and I have aspirations and dreams of really being a really big nonprofit professional here, and I'm really just following what God wants me to do.
Well, that's the best thing.
If He calls for me to move home, then I'm gonna pack up that day and move home.
He'll tell you.
For right now, I know that He has plans for me to be here, especially with just getting this new job and really soaring and doing what I need to do, running a whole program. So I'm being obedient and listening to Him, and then when He tells me it's time for me to go, I got to get up.
Chase, I told the people in my church, faith and obedience moves God. I'm proud of you, and I'm going to tell you another thing, young lady. You're inspiring a bunch of women of all races and culture because for too long they have been treating women unfairly, in my opinion, especially as it relates in this country. Like they have to have a vote for them to make the same amount of money, even though they got the same qualification. That's absurd. So for too long for that, but you keep on spearheading that, and you're inspiring not only a whole bunch of people, but your niece, who's sitting here watching you. They're the next up, and that's the way it should have been. Go ahead, Chase.
Oh, I was saying my daughter's brilliant. She don't even know it yet.
I think she knows it.
Man, so many people people seek this little girl in elementary school. Like she don't go out of her way to like not necessarily not make friends, but she ain't finna be all over your face or whatever, nothing like that. And people seek her. They've been doing it since like pre-K. Like she didn't even know kids' names. I would walk her into school, and people would be screaming like her name when she showed up.
Sure.
And I'm like, you know what that is? She was like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Like she was like 6.
But the knowledge and education, man, is a it's like it extends from the family tree, man. I mean, it's not a coincidence. And the fact of the matter is, man, and everybody has their gifts, but everybody's not. I don't want to say they're slow, but everybody's not on the same playing field as it relates to intelligence. It's just as simple as that.
You gonna tell the people bye, Jada?
Bye.
So see you next time.
See you next time.
We out.
We out. Thank you, baby.
We're out.
Peace out.
I love you too. Thanks for having me, y'all.
All right.